That it has been approved. The temporary use permit 13-03-CC has been approved. Item number 10 is to consider the site plan 13-04-SP. And this is for car wash modifications located on the racetrack addition, Block A, Lot 3, 622 North Industrial Boulevard, and Mr. Collins will explain.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Brenda and Scott Buchanan are the owners of the Laser Wash Car Wash that's located at 622 North Industrial. They are immediately adjacent to the north of the racetrack, and they are now immediately to the south of the new Dairy Queen that was constructed. The Dairy Queen that is located immediately adjacent, they share a mutual access off of 157. After Dairy Queen opened, in order to eliminate the conflicts that were existing between the folks queuing to go into the car wash on the 157 side, the Buchanans went ahead and reversed the circulation of the car wash to a counterclockwise way so that you could now enter the car wash from the east side of the car wash itself. Several years ago, when the car wash had originally been approved, it was approved with vacuum cleaners. Well, they removed those. Well, with the new circulation that's been established on the site, they would like to reintroduce the vacuums to the site. Now, the location of the vacuums will include 2 individual vacuum stations with 2 vacuums each. The location of the vacuum that would be closest to the residential areas to the east are no closer than the location where they were originally located when the site plan was approved. So with your approval this evening of their site plan, they would be able to reintroduce the vacuum cleaners with a vacuum cover. In addition, they would be extending some pavement to the rear of their existing site that will improve the overall site circulation. And as part of the extension of that pavement, they would also relocate the dumpster a little bit farther to the east that would then become towards the rear of that new pavement that they are putting down. The Planning and Zoning Commission considered this at their last regularly scheduled meeting, and they would recommend your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Council, what is your pleasure?
Mayor, I'd move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. The motion is made by Councilperson Steniford and seconded by Councilperson Martin to approve site plan 1304 SP. This certainly improves getting in and out of the Dairy Queen as well as it's a car wash area too. It's a win-win plus plus. Any other comments?
I do have one comment for Mr. Buchanan. Is he here?
Mrs. Buchanan.
Mrs. Buchanan. I use the car wash all the time, and I know initially when you built it there were some concerns about the noise, but if I'm not mistaken, reversing it now has taken, the dryer mechanism was the loudest of the machines in there. Is that not correct? So it's actually substantially reduced the noise to the neighbors than before, right?
Yes, and in the last few years we put in new equipment that was much quieter than the existing equipment that was built. So it's
Thank you.
Any other comments, Council? We all like the idea. So cast your votes. It has been approved. Site plan 1304 has been approved. Thank you. Item number 11 is to hold a public hearing for specific use permit 1306. This is a request for a specific use permit in the Villages of Bear Creek Addition, Block 2, Lot 8, for a pet grooming shop in the Community Business District C2 zoning at 801 East Mid-Cities Boulevard. In a public hearing, and I'll ask Mr. Collins to explain this for us.
Thank you very much, Mayor. You described the location very, very well. You are west of 360 on the north side of Mid-Cities. The applicant is Ms. Karen Rodriguez Rivera. She would intend to operate a salon. I'm going too fast, aren't I? There we go. She would intend to operate a pet salon at this location at approximately 800 square feet. She would desire to operate her business Tuesday through Sundays during normal business hours. The provision of this service would be done through a prior appointment, meaning that you can't just walk up with your pet and get the service. There would be some small retail component associated with this. She would plan to occupy about 800 square feet within the suite. The Planning and Zoning Commission had considered this during a meeting that they held on June the 4th of 2013 and voted to recommend approval with the conditions that are identified in your agenda communication that include it being tied to the business owner, Ms. Rivera, the business name Chick Tails Pet Boutique and Spas. Ma'am? Chick Tails Pet Boutique and Spa would be the name of the business, and that no animals would be kenneled overnight within the facility. And Ms. Rivera, yes, I see has joined us in the audience and would be available to respond to any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. We're in the public hearing, and I'll ask, do we have any proponents for this specific use permit? You'd like to come down and say something?
No, I think everything has been said.
Would anyone else like to come forward? This is for anyone that's a proponent. Do we have any opponents for this particular item? If not, do we have no proponents or opponents? I'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask council, what is your pleasure?
I move approval.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'll second.
Thank you. The motion is made by Councilperson Porterfield and seconded by Councilperson Allenfeld. Is there further discussion? Please cast your votes. The SUV has been approved, and I understand that's very close to the dog park. Is that correctly?
It is.
Okay, it captured ordinance. Item number 12 is specific use number 1307, and consider the first and final reading of ordinance number 1997. This is a request for the specific use permit in the Alexander and Cullen additions, lots 20, 21, and a portion of lot 22, for a place of worship and to provide pastoral residence of the Texas Highway 10 multi-use district. Mr. Collins.
Thank you very much, Mayor. As you indicated, the location of the subject property is at 200 East Euless Boulevard. The map would identify that it is on the south side of Euless Boulevard, or Highway 10 on the west side of Cullum Drive. A specific use permit and a subsequent site plan was approved that enabled a new Sikh temple to be constructed. In the consideration of the specific use permit back in 2011, the addition of a pastoral residence was not specifically identified. Therefore, we wanted to bring it back before as an amendment to that original SUP, which would allow that pastoral residence. In the consideration by the Planning and Zoning Commission of this amendment, they are recommending approval with the conditions that it be established specifically to the temple, tied to the business name of the temple, and very, very specific to the addition of the residence, that the living quarters shall be used for a single-family pastoral residence only, and that it be established in a designated room located on the second story of the structure, not to exceed 1,200 square feet, and reserved for the purpose, or in other words, to be used for the single-family pastoral residence. Again, the Planning and Zoning Commission considered this during their meeting on June the 4th and is recommending approval, and the temple's representative, Mr. Pogal, is here and would be able to respond to any specific questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Remember, we're in a public hearing, and at this time I'll ask, do we have any proponents for this amendment to the ordinance? If one of you would like to come down and speak, the proponent? No, you don't want to come down? Okay. Any other proponents for this? If not, we do have one opponent who has signed up, so I'll call on that person first. Mr. Mark Compton, would you come forward?
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and I would like to revoke my objection. Thank you.
Okay, so I can change this piece of paper, right?
I'm sorry?
I'll just change what you wrote
No,
down.
thank you very much.
Do we have any other opponents to this? If not, then I'll close the public hearing and I'll ask council, what is your pleasure?
Mayor, I would move approval on this, especially since it's in my neighborhood. And I think they'll be very good neighbors.
Thank you. Need a second?
I'll say it.
Okay, the motion has been made by Mayor Pro Tem Hogg and seconded by Councilperson Steniford to approve ordinance number 1997. Is there further discussion with council? If not, cast your votes. Ordinance number 1997 has been approved. You've been here several times before. We wish you luck. I see you have cleaned the area already, and it looks like you're going fast.
On behalf of Gurdwara 600, I thank Council, Honorable Mayor, our neighbors, Mr. Collin and Mr. Cook. Thank you very much for taking our family into Euless, and that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 13 is to consider the board and commission appointments. Council, I think you know what that's all about, so what is your pleasure?
Mayor, for zoning board of adjustment, since we have a vacancy, we move alternate number 1, Clarence Moore, to position number 2, and move alternate number 2, Ronald Dunkel, to alternate number 1.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion is made by Councilperson Martin and seconded by Councilperson Allenfeld to move the alternate up into place 2 and the second alternate into place alternate 1. Further discussion? Not, cast your vote. Get it? Okay, it has been approved. Everything's okay. All right, item number 13 was finished, and we have public comments. Would anyone like to come down and make a public comment at this time? You don't have to be on the agenda, you can come on down.
Jake.
Okay, Jake. Jake is a good friend and attends every single council member meeting when he can get out.
I really have a question more than a comment.
Would you give us your name and address first?
My name is Jake Thomason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm live at 1816 Tyler Avenue,
Thank you.
and I'd like to ask, what is the progress on the taking care of the West Nile virus and the mosquitoes? And I heard they have sprayed at least one time, but I did hear a rumor that they had found one trace of West Nile. I'd like to ask.
We will give that answer to you right now. I'll call on our city manager to discuss that.
Okay.
There was one, and we sicked him on you, Jake. Just kidding.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Just gotta have a laugh. West Nile virus is no laughing matter. So far this season in Tarrant County, there has been no mosquitoes that have been trapped and tested and determined to have West Nile, to be a carrier of West Nile virus. There has been one human case of West Nile fever, and that's in Fort Worth. We have noticed an uptick in the mosquito population. So Sunday before last, I don't remember that date, but we began spraying. The area of North Euless that is north of Airport Freeway was sprayed Monday, Tuesday. I think there was a little bit of rain or a little bit of high wind or something on Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday we couldn't get to it. Finished up Wednesday. The recommendation is that you spray 3 nights in a row. And so this week, beginning this past Sunday, we were spraying from Airport Freeway South. We sprayed Sunday night, Monday night, and I've not been outside this afternoon. If the wind is adequately low tonight, we will spray the 3rd time tonight. That'll take care of the entirety of our community. At that point, we'll monitor the mosquito population and determine if additional spraying is needed. And we'll also monitor carefully the trappings that are going on and what the diagnosis is from those trappings. And we'll let you know by email and on our website if additional spraying is needed, but 3 times for all parts of our community.
That answer your question, Jay?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Would anyone else like to make a public comment or ask a question? If not, do we have a report from our city attorney?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. City manager?
No, ma'am?
City council? None. You know
Yes, ma'am.
what?
I don't know that this is the appropriate time, but I just have to share something with the council and with the audience. As one advances in their age, it seems that a bucket list becomes more and more important, that certain items get checked off. I had an opportunity this last Saturday evening to check off one of my bucket list items, and I'd like to relate that to you, if I may.
Go right ahead.
I'm very fortunate in that I have a big bucket list, and much of it has been accomplished. I have a beautiful wife, I have beautiful children, I have an old car that's a toy. Many of you have seen that. I have played golf on 4 different U.S. Open golf courses. Torrey Pines, Congressional in Bethpage, Maryland, Bethpage Black in New York, Pebble Beach in California. I've played the Old Course in St. Andrews, Scotland, the oldest golf course in the world. But Saturday night, my wife and I attended a concert of the Fort Worth Symphonic Band. Now this may sound strange, but near the end of this concert, there were a lot of people there. The director turned around to the audience after he had introduced the fact that they were going to be playing the National Emblem March and said, "Is there anyone in the audience who would like to direct this march?" Well, everybody was kind of aghast. No one raised their hand for a moment or two, and then I raised my hand. I went up to the front, and the director asked me, "Have you directed a band before?" I said, "No, sir. But I've always wanted to." He handed me the baton. I stepped up on the podium, and I told that band, "I'm going to give you 4 beats, then you start." They did, and it was a marvelous experience. The music was before me. Of course, I didn't know what it said. And the only problem was I didn't know when they were going to stop. But directing a band in a march is one of the items that was on my bucket list, and I got it checked off. Thank you, Mayor.
How many of us would have the nerve to do that? I think that's wonderful. Well, I want to tell you that 2 weeks ago we had a dinner given by the Builders Association of Tarrant County. And each year they have a gala dinner with, this year they had the Lieutenant Governor speak to us. It was very nice. We had him speak to us, and they give out awards. And this year, the city of Euless won the best award of all. We won the Community Spirit Award, and this is the award that's sitting up here, and the plaque that goes with it. And we are very proud of that because it all depended on the volunteer work that we do in the city of Euless. They were so proud of what we've done. So that's what we do. That wasn't on my bucket list, but it sure did feel good. If there's no other business, the meeting is adjourned.